day is warming up here. We were able to connect with all the music appreciation students this morning. I appreciate them. We got a Baroque brain dump going. We at least found 22 words and about 4 different composers that we could remember off the top of our heads. And Bach was really there as a well-known feature, which is so crazy because he was only known as a performer in his time, which I feel like is intimidating to many of us classical musicians because he just looms larger than life. And I think God kind of wanted him to have this effect on classical music. He touched like a deep chord of humanity. And I'm glad to see my students also know Bach's name. And we just kind of join in that heritage together, whoever we are. So we are strolling along. We tapped out some rhythms to a concerto. We listened to different timbres of Baroque music. Like, we listened to the ancient instruments, which sounded a bit more serious, and then we listened to the same music on a redone with a MIDI file imitating modern instruments, and felt that it sounded slightly happier with modern style instrument timbres than it did with ancient instruments. So there's something about the ancient instruments that sounds a little more serious to most folks. And now we are getting to my lovely parking area. It's cute how I can have a lake and not even have anyone listening. But I'm going to persist here because I believe there is 44 more subscribers out there for me. So I will just pray, Lord, bless the people who are going to find this channel and be a part of it and become a community of encouragement around classical and acoustic and original and Christian music making in this day and age. We can appreciate a lot from the past and remember it, but we're not living in it. We were made for these days is my student's t-shirt. I think that's by Jeremy Camp, said that. King Bugaigu, good morning. I am having a good day. I just finished my music appreciation class, and this is why it's like Nicole Duran music, because we're going from music appreciation to a music studio. Appreciating the music from, thank you. You must be a true music lover or a kind soul. I take both. But I love how music and YouTube can kind of get around the globe and introduce me to people that I wouldn't normally know. So I think it's kind of fun that I have this class. Bass. I was just thinking about, we're in the Baroque period where cello is like a big thing, and the acoustic and stand-up bass have not yet. I feel like it's the viol or something that is the bass viol that is being played. So now we're going to start entering the classical period and get into Beethoven. I just heard, if you guys have ever listened to the Sticky Notes podcast, he is a music director, like a conductor, and does all these podcasts, so informational, such a blessing. So he had one today on the Bach cello suites and how they weren't even, the idea of a solo cello playing was not popular until 1900. So even though the music was written like in 1723, Bach died in 1750, it just got buried. And I guess many of our things that we do, we think are so important, are just getting buried under the surface, and we're all just playing a tiny part in the musical realm, but it's a significant part, I believe. And I think Satan wants to take that away from us and make us feel we've got nothing and we're going nowhere. It's rather tricky. Um, Brian, do you play an instrument or sing or do music in some way? Last week we had a big Ironman um, like triathlon competition here, and some of the roads were shut. And it seems like we're really waiting for fall to come in this part of the country. It has not yet cooled off, and which I guess when it truly starts cooling off, the instruments are going to be affected. Things are going to get a little bit flat. The reeds are going to start playing different ways. So I probably should just schedule in some time to make and adjust reeds, because I get to play for Maker's Day celebration, Lord willing, at the downtown library. And then we will probably collect tips for that through Buy Me a Coffee. And I am just going to sell stuff. I bought several things. Like when you operate a music studio, you're always making your best guess at what's going to help your students and assist them in overcoming various obstacles. So you might buy practice timers, you might buy treats, you might buy thank you notes, you might buy stickers, you might buy water bottles. I had a lot of singers, and I thought, they need their water. Even right now, I'm feeling like so much pollen in the air. I need water. Try that if you can at home. Helps warm up your voice for singing. But it's refreshing today that already it's not too far along in the day, and I've gotten out and sung with people, listened to some great music, get to travel through a beautiful city. Yesterday I got to go up a mountain teaching music, and I found there is a very good bassoonist who has some good, generous artistic vision. And I've done this musician's reflection Bible study on Psalm 62, which I really recommend. I have to slow down the pace of these musician reflections because I'm trying to memorize a whole psalm in a month and then put it in a classical style to music that suits the affections and the feelings of the song. Like often we pray and the words that we pray don't really sound like the feelings that we're having. And when we pray as a church body, everybody's in a different mood. So it seems almost like when we pray together, it's just alerting us to the fact that everybody is somewhat on the same wavelength. Some things will affect large groups of people and bring them either up or down. You might have like a holiday like Thanksgiving. Usually everyone's like really thoughtful about praising the Lord and remembering to give thanks then. And so I'm looking forward to that. Tomorrow is actually Yom Kippur, and I'm praying that God will draw a lot of Jewish people, my brothers in the flesh, to himself. And that I came from a Jewish background to know the Messiah. And so I'm going to try to pray and think intentionally about the sacrificial system and use that in the Old Testament to represent and prefigure Christ, who is the ultimate sacrifice for the whole world. And so everything we've done in the West is built on that, and everything that's kind of pinned society together as they hear the good news. They get the foundations for literacy, and then they just begin building beautiful monuments to God's love and anticipating the end of history when He just comes back. There was a student in my class who he played a trumpet, and it reminded me of Rosh Hashanah being recently, because that's called the Feast of Blowing or the Feast of Trumpets. And I can imagine, like, when you blow a trumpet, it's just a powerful feeling. He didn't feel like doing it again. Like, it takes so much discipline to get your music to the highest level where you'll be happy with it every day. At least I'm a little bit happy with my music every day, and I'm happy to serve in that way, in that capacity. There's many other things that I do besides making music, but I think making music is the funnest of the things that I do, and I think